So I've been noticing that as I sit with memories recently, remembering or trying to remember how it was that I felt in those moments of my life, it's very challenging. Again, of course, because of the dissociation, right? Um, just trying to sit with that stuff. It's important because the more you sit with something, it helps you to kind of like put back together the detail of stuff. Trauma really has a tendency to kind of like put things out of place and like there was a detail here and that detail's not there anymore because maybe, as a result of how painful it was, your mind blocks it out and everything. So really doing the best that you can to sit with that stuff um, puts everything back together. And that's what I'm doing now. And I'm trying to go as far back into my childhood as I possibly can. It's challenging. It's very difficult. Um, but it's very rewarding at the same time because there are things that have happened in my life that, like, when I look at it consciously now, it's like, wow, I completely forgot that that happened. And this is not a result of trauma, maybe, but it's more so just a result of, like, you know, just not being present. Like I said, like, when you are not present in life, usually as a result of being dissociated, you miss out on so much more. There's so many things that the subconscious mind kind of just like stores in different places. This is why sitting with memories and being present with everything to try to like gather data and stuff and be with all that stuff and recognize like what it meant is just hugely beneficial. It can really help reform memory, and for many reasons that's very important. To have that there, it can change the dynamics of everything. And it's interesting too because sometimes when you sit with memories, you realize that you forgot about something that was so crucial, and that can totally like drastically change the dynamics of how you approach the memory or how you approach your life. Like looking at my own life, just in terms of like memory and things that happen and everything. Like I'm literally just like, just like, wow. Um, but then here's the other thing too. This is also important. The more that you resist what was, right, it doesn't get any better. One of the most important parts of the healing process and the healing journey is loving what was. Doesn't matter how, like, ugh, it was, right? What matters is that you have the capacity to just put love there. Just, like, recognize, like, your inner child, the little self that was doing the best that he or she could to, make your life experience what it was. Being in survival, maybe you didn't make the best decisions, but then forgiving yourself for those decisions, and not only forgiving yourself, but also loving yourself, giving yourself love. Like, I recognized that at that point in my life, I was in survival, and as a result of being in survival, I made this, that, and the other choice, and that, of course, resulted in this, that, and the other, which did not make my life any better, but, of course, I was in survival, so therefore I was living from a place of survival, and with that, making decisions from a place of survival, and that just really messed everything up. But just, again, forgiving and loving, because the more that you resist, it doesn't get any better. The more that you resist, it just kind of creates this idea that there's something inherently fucking wrong with you, and it's just not the reality of it. So, sitting with that and challenging the previous narrative and transforming it into something that actually shows you what was going on is completely crucial. So I'm realizing now, like, I used to, like, look at it and be like, ugh, right? But now I'm looking at it and it's like, oh, okay. All right, I forgive you. You were there, you did that. I love you. Everything's fine, right? And I can breathe again, It changes everything. It literally changes everything. So I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to be sitting with that. It's really rewarding. And I'm going to continue down that path. I'm going to continue giving myself what I didn't have before. That's a huge thing too. This has a lot to do with like reparenting and everything. A lot of people's needs, a lot of my needs weren't met, especially emotional needs. So giving yourself what you didn't receive is absolutely crucial there. Giving yourself that love, that validation, that acceptance, that forgiveness, right? You didn't. There are just so many times in life when we're just like so overwhelmed and we don't get what we need, and it really messes everything up. So just giving yourself what it is that you need really changes the dynamics of things. But I'm excited to continue exploring this, and I know that there's going to be a lot that, surfaces, a lot that kind of reveals itself, and I'm going to learn so much about myself.